So the next part of this session is geared towards demonstrating how to upload files to CalPads. For majority of you, you you probably have experience uploading files to CalPads already and have been doing that for quite some time. For those who are new, this would be a demonstration on the best practices on how to upload files to CalPads. Okay, so this session is geared towards batch upload process. The prior session we had last week was online maintenance, which is just adding one record at a time, requesting SSIDs one record at a time through the online maintenance process. Okay, but this session is geared towards batch upload. So as you know, there are multiple ways to submit files to CalPads. One is through online maintenance, as I've mentioned, and the other is through batch upload, which is essentially uploading extracted files from your SIS into CalPads. And then the third one, which involves your SPED files, your student with disabilities files, those 4 files, those ideally should be pushed, or I mean the transaction should be created in your special education system and then pushed to CalPads through the API. However, starting this year, there is also an added functionality where you can manually add SPED records one at a time through online maintenance. But I would remind you to exercise caution. And since this is now a functionality, you should only be assigning SPED edit roles to the SPED people or SPED person who is responsible in updating records in CalPads. Okay, do not add the SPED edit to anyone else, because if the CalPAS data doesn't match your SIS data and there was an audit or some parents had some complaints, then that might be an opportunity for a lawsuit. So just make sure that if you do it in online maintenance, you have the same information synced in your SEDS software. Okay. So, okay, let's start. So ideally, when you send up batch file upload, you extract your file from your SIS, right? Uh, you have who here uses Aries? Can you get a show of hands? Okay, okay, okay. And then, okay, you can bring down those hands. Who here uses Power School or Synergy? I do have some LAs who does Synergy and Power School too. All right, so who here knows how to extract files from their SIS? Who can confidently say, I just press all that magic button, the 4 files gets generated, and I upload it to CalPads. Okay. Okay, that's good. So these are just basic skills that you guys should be confident on doing to be able to send up files to CalPads. So in the CC's training realm, we don't have an SIS. So the best way to do this is to use our best SIS folder. Okay. We have here, let's just pretend this is the SIS. We extracted the files from the SIS and we have the files here. As you can see, we have blank SSIDs, we have SCNR main, SINF, SPRG, SELA, and then this SSID match result, which is just revealing some of some tips and tricks that I would be showing you. But essentially, these are your student profile file types that you could extract from your SIS, being CalPADS administrators. The other 4 files would come from your SEDS vendor, okay? And your SPED coordinator are responsible in pushing that into CalPADS, okay? So since this is the start of the year, there is a high possibility that, number one, you have new students coming into California as a TK, as a KN, or a student who just migrated. and then students who come from other states. And then, of course, you have students who have been in California for a while and just transferred to your district, right? So, in all of those, at the start of the year, your priority is to get SSIDs for who? Who should you get SSIDs first? Okay, Peggy, that's right. TBDs, TBDs. Okay. And then, of course, those students who need to be assessed too, which is your SPED students, right? So your focus between July 1st up to even before the start of school is to gather SSIDs, generate SSIDs for students who are new or who have no SSIDs in your SIS, right? So the easy way to do that is to extract the SENR file, right? Problem is the SENR file would only extract those students who have been enrolled in your SIS, so you already have their SSIDs. However, for those students who do not have SSIDs, you need to generate those. So more often than not, you would just extract from your SIS your blank SSIDs first. Do not extract your main body of students, which is essentially those students who you expect to be returning this year, right? So initially you would have your blank SSIDs. So I have this. I have one, two, three, five students, right? That I need SSIDs for. Either these students are new to California or new to your district, right? So in the olden days, which is like eons ago, it feels like eons ago, you just upload this to CalPads and CalPads will try to match those for you, right? And then try to offer you some results. But since we've shifted to this post redesign, we now, once you upload the file with blank SSIDs, CalPads will assume that these students require new SSIDs and will automatically generate new SSIDs for the students. So yes, that's good. That's a really efficient way to generate SSIDs. But what is the consequence to this? That's right, mids. Okay, so this is the reason why we first have to try to run this file through the SSID match tool. Okay, let me just close this and upload this to the SSID match tool. The SSID match tool is a way to be able to give you, for the system to give you a heads up on any possible matches and any no matches for those potential candidates. Okay. So to upload the file to the SSID match tool, click on online maintenance, student data, click on SSID match tool. So we are in the staging environment. So don't be surprised if you see these two buttons here, because once we deploy Elasticsearch in CalPads, then the user interface would still show just the result file button. Okay, so let me just upload this file. And we upload to the system. So what this does is the system will try to see if there are potential matches being created, right? Or if the system finds any students with potential SSIDs. Okay, this might take a while. So, okay, oh, look at that. Standardized. So once we upload that, it will, the system will generate the potential matches and it will look like this one here. So we download that result and the result will look like this one. So this, once you download the file, it really doesn't arrange it into columns. So you have to convert it into Excel. So So the result will look like this. Just download this file. So it is caret delimited. So if you want to align these records to the columns, you have to convert it into Excel using the delimited process. So and then pick caret delimited, and it will then be like this. Okay. So right now, I see that the first four, Joshua, Bryce Canyon, Kenai Fjords, Haleakala, have no possible matches, while Banff, Alberta has a single match and a 100% match. Okay. So on the surface, I would say, okay, this is good. So I'll just pick this and then update my SIS, right? But however, if your SIS is automated in a way where you can just upload the matches into your SIS using the results file, then that would be good. How if your SIS would be able to identify or determine any matches through this selection column, then that would be a good process. So let's just assume your SIS does that now. It can automate the process. So the only thing you need to do is probably say, okay, why? If that's what your SIS tells us, selection yes, and then the others are no. Let's just assume no, these are no match. Okay, you save this, and then I upload it, import it into my SIS, and then my SIS will then add this into my main body of students who already have SIS, right? So now the only students that I will need to upload back to CalPads are these four students. Okay. So now that we have these four students here, let me just assume. Okay. Let's just say here, save a copy, browse. Okay. So now that we have the SSIDs, we can go back to our blank SSID file. Let's say we extracted a new SSID file from the SIS. And this time, Kenai should not be in here, right? So assuming you've extracted a new blank SSID extract, so now that Banff, Alberta has an SSID, only the four would show up here, right? So now we upload this to CalPads. See here, let's save a copy first, so I don't have to. Find out. Okay. Now that we have that file, we then move on to uploading it back to CalPads. Okay, since we are sure that those four students do not have any SSIDs, we now then move on to requesting SSIDs for them. So we go to upload view submissions, file upload, and we upload that file like any regular SCNR file. So we have our final blank SSIDs and upload it to CalPads. Once that's uploaded, the system will now try to create or generate the SSIDs for the students. And once this is generated, once this says posted, what is the next step in trying to trying to retrieve the SSIDs. For those who are veterans in CALPADS, that is correct, the SSID extract. So hopefully our system will be fast enough to be able to post this and generate the SSIDs. Okay, it's now in staging. So while we're waiting for the system to be staged, once the SSIDs are updated, we then import the SSIDs. So we've done the SSID match tool. So we told our SIS that, hey, these are the potential matches and these are the SSIDs students that do not still have matches. Now we again generated a new file with just blank SSIDs and uploaded the regular process. And we're now in this section, auto post to data store. And then we're waiting for the SSIDs to be generated. Okay. So if we were reckless and just uploaded the file blank SSID without going through the SSID match tool, there is a potential scenario where you will need to submit or correct mids because you may have ended up creating new SSIDs for existing students, right? Especially for Banff, Alberta. So that's what we were trying to avoid, okay? So now let's go back to the file and see if this file posted. Okay, we have 4 rejections and we see what the issue is. Multiple enrollments within the LEA and start date mismatch and invalid kindergarten student. All right, so let's look here. Let's click on this. First one. So to resolve errors, you can just click on the error link and it brings you to the CALPADS user manual version of the error list. So the benefit of looking at the errors through the user manual version is that if there are any defects affecting the validation, you should be able to see it right away in this section. Although if you are used to looking at the error list, the spreadsheet version, that's fine as well. However, this provides you more information, and if we have videos in resolving specific errors, you might also see some videos at the bottom. Okay. So SENR. So I have here Bryce Canyon, 817, kindergarten. And so what is wrong with this student? So SENR 27 is stating that there is an overlapping enrollment. Okay, so I copy this SSID and see in the system if there is indeed an overlap. Okay, or maybe it's in the file. Let's see what's in our file. SSIS. Yes, sir.
Look at the file again. I think you have duplicates, local student IDs, and that's one of the matching criteria.
229. Oh, yeah. This one here, Bryce and Kenai have duplicates.
That might be the problem.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this is one of the consequences of us mocking up data. We don't have real students. So I've been down this road before.
Bryce. Yeah, this is Bryce. And we had Bryce and Kenai, right? Okay, yeah.
But it's a good example because it shows you all that the local student ID is maybe the most significant character in matching outside of the match tool.
Yeah. Then also, this also impacts you if you're submitting SCNR records for TK students and you have a recycled local student ID. It triggers it triggers the validation error wherein it recognizes the other local student ID that's already in CALPADS for a while.
So if I noticed last year that if you do a system change, you're going from PowerSchool to Aries or Infinite Campus, something like that. If they're using numeric student identifiers, local student identifiers, you may enroll a student who has already had that same number, or your LEA's history in CALPADS may have used that number, even though it hasn't been recycled within that student information system.
Yeah.
So that's something else to look out for.
Yeah, that's a good point. SNR 178. So we have here start date mismatch, and this happened for what kid? I guess it's the same student, probably because of that local ID as well. And then SNR 262, invalid KN student, 4 to 7. Okay, so who did we claim to be SNR? I guess it's because of that same local record ID. Okay, so just because of one specific error, it triggered a slew of errors. So lesson learned, we have to go back and make the correction. So let's go back again here and upload the same file now with a different local student ID. Yeah, guys, this is the benefit of attending sessions 241. But wait, there's more. It's a 241 session. And also, you might be witness to new defects that we might may be unearthing today. Okay, so let's look at this. Hopefully, we got to resolve that error. And just as a reference, Nate mentioned that this is a primary key. So what he's referring to is if you go to the CFS, there is a section here where it checks if a field is an operational key or not. So let's see if that is one of them. I guess this is a primary key that we're looking for, not operational key. Yeah, it's the primary key. Okay, so let's wait for staging to finish. Hopefully. Okay, we have one more rejected record. Okay, let's look at this. So when we say we feel your pain, we really feel your pain. So this is how when we also troubleshoot. So this one is 10/1/2018. So the student is
just turning 5, but not
5.
as of September 1st.
Yeah. So the student is just 4 right now and turning 5. What grade level should we put in here? Let's go back here. That's correct. TK. So Kenai Fjords 2018-10-1. So you can report the student as TK since the student will be turning 5 between September 2nd to December 2nd. Okay, so let's save that. And then upload again. So as you can see, the CalPad submission is a iterative process. Okay, so you always have, when you make corrections, do it in your SIS. That way, you're correcting both your SIS and the record that you'll be uploading to CalPads. So just correct it in your SIS, extract a new file, and upload to CalPads. That way you're correcting in both sides of the databases.
I'm going to cross my fingers, Karen, and whisper some quiet things.
Well, I'm glad we have a DJ in the house.
Still
Hopefully,
here.
yep. Time to whip up that music, Marshall, while we're waiting.
Now,
Let's see.
hopefully, the music doesn't sound like wah wah wah.
It might.
Yeah, Marshall has this excellent sound box. Sometimes just try to upload files and then it takes forever and you just leave it there and do some other work. There's okay, we have one more here. Let's see what this other one is. GERR7, outside the effective date range. Ah, shh. Okay. So it says here the error is grade level code TK code submitted is outside the effective date range. But I was sure the student started this year, right? Problem is I had the enrollment start date last year, so TK was still not a valid record. So or grade level. So let's go back here and again fix this. Sorry guys. So the start date was 9/23. Okay.
I think it's great,
Nine
Karen.
nineteen.
Other than time constraints, so I think demonstration of troubleshooting uh, is great, especially for new people, because it's so common that you will have to clean up data.
Yeah. You can hear my frustration too. So you can you can relate to what we experienced too, right? This is the real world scenario. Alex brought jokes today. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love it. You guys are so great.
I felt like my life was making corrections. Hey, at least you get practice in CalPads now. I mean, that can translate in real life scenario, right? Once you know how to assess the moment, then you could adjust as well in real life and make corrections. Cross our fingers. This goes through. I'm glad I am able to help Debbie. All right, this is just staging. Okay, okay. This looks promising. Validating. Get ready, Marshall, for the celebration sound.
The applause.
The applause.
We're still waiting.
We're still waiting. All right, so while we're waiting for that, what would once we generate these SSIDs, we okay, it's posting. We then request the SSID extract. So the SSID extract would have okay, so it's now posted. There you go. So the problem with this is that once it says posted and you click on this, there's no way for you to know what the SSIDs were generated for the students, right? It doesn't show a notification of the SSIDs generated for the four. So for you to be able to generate the SSIDs, you need to request an SSID extract. Okay, the SSID extract can be downloaded from the extracts page. Okay, so if I click on this extracts, I have here the SSID extract. The benefit from having the SSID extract is that it provides us more information other than just the enrollment, the demographic information of the student. If the student was enrolled prior to your LEA, then you might be able to generate information for these students. Okay. Well, that's generated. So we now go to the SSID extract and request an extract for our 4 students. So to do that, you have the option to either choose by date range when the SSID was created. So if you're just requesting the SSID now and this the date it was created, then you could use that. All right, then. So let's do 918 and 919. That's interesting. Okay, so we have that. Or another way is, let's say you're trying you're trying to generate all of the SSIDs you created this week. So what you could do is, or even since last week, do by date range by enrollment. Pick the selected schools, enrollment start date. Let's say first day was school was as early as 8/14 or 8/1. End date is today, and request the file. Okay, so once we have this students in, so let's go back to the PowerPoint here. So once we have those students, the SSID extract, we import that to our SIS, which in turn the SIS will then assign the SSIDs to the student, and then that will then allow us to be able to generate the next 3 files, which is the SINF, the SELA, and the SPRG for the students, if there are any students who are eligible for those for any programs. Okay, so let's go back to the page and see if it generated any file. So the first one we did was create date was yesterday and today. It generated 0 errors. For some reason, that didn't generate the SSID. So let's look at this and see if we have a better file. Okay. So when you open the extracts, it comes in this. Oh, look, I have Alberta. Nice. So it comes in a text file, right? So it's difficult to decipher the different columns. So an easy tool that you can use or take advantage of is the SSID extract template. So let's close this. The SSID extract template can be downloaded from the CALPADS user manual. So we go to the CALPADS user manual by going to help, going to the user manual here, and then going to resource and batch file templates. Okay. So you have here your batch file templates, and then you also have your extract templates at the bottom. If you open up the SSID extract template, this template is a macro file. So you probably have to allow the system to, that way you can use the template. So the nice thing about this is that you just click on this and look at the file, and then the file will then
I haven't been able to use the button for some
it
time
doesn't.
now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, then if the button isn't working, another way to do this is just to go to go here and then just do data, legacy wizard, text, and then look for the file. So there is also a tutorial on how to convert it into Excel in the user manual. So delimited, and I believe Marshall posted something on the chat box too. So we do caret, and next, and then go to the far right, press shift, and then go to the far right and click on the last column to highlight everything, pick text, finish, and okay. So this is the benefit of having this SSID enrollment extract. So aside from just the birth date or the other records, you are also able to see any potential good stuff for goodies for this for the students that you've inherited from other LEAs. So Banff, Alberta, here appears to be a TBD. Joshua Tree is a TBD. And then they have a primary language. I'm not sure why we still have 17 here, but primary language should be somewhere in the new language code. And then I also see that the earliest enrollment start date for this is 9/15/2022. Initial US school enrollment is 8/15/2022. So interesting. So what you do with this is you save this and import to your SIS. Now your SIS will then add the SSIDs, add the English language status start dates, and all of this good stuff in the proper fields in your SIS. And then once you extract the next file, which is the SINF, and then the SELA, then it would include these fields. Okay. So now let's go. Let's just assume that we've uploaded we've imported the SSID extract, and now all of the SSIDs in CalPADS have been updated, right? So now we move on to the SINF. But before I do that, do you have any questions with the SSID enrollment process? Could you also query out this data from your SIS and place it into the sheet for upload? Paste it into this sheet for upload?
You could.
Yeah, but then the purpose of this is that you are trying to generate the SSIDs of the students and import it into your into your SIS. So this is this, but you probably could be referring to the batch template. But yeah, so this would help you be able to add all of this other information into your SIS. So now that we have the SSID enrollment template, SSID enrollment procedure squared, we now upload the next file, which is the SINF. The SINF contains all of your demographic records for the students. So the SINF should have that. Okay. So we then upload the SINF. Okay. We go to view submissions, upload file again. Just close all of these windows. And then let's now pick the SINF. Choose the file. We go to our stored SINF folder. So now that you have, let's see here, the SSID extract template. So let's just assume, let's just show you how the system works in the background for your SIS, right? So now that we have these students in, The students will then add the SSIDs for BANT. Or is this guy's SSID? Yeah, this one. Just copy that, and it shows it, adds it to the SINF. And then who else? Halayakala. Okay. Okay. One second here. Halayakala. And then Kenai doesn't have it. Interesting. It didn't generate Kenai. Okay. Then let's pretend that's there. Let's save it. And then what else does this guy have? Alberta. The initial US enrollment dates was 8/15/2023. So I'm just doing what your SINF should be doing in the background, right? Where's that? Oh no. And then who was the other kid? Aliakala. Earliest enrollment start date. Okay. All right. So now we upload the SINF into CALPADS. So hopefully we don't get too many errors. So while we're waiting for the system to bring up, the next one would be the SELA file and then the SPRG. The SELA should have let's bring up the SELA here.
So just to kill time,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we all understand that we're just going to demonstrate the files that are coming from the student information system. Some students, those students with disabilities, would require the submission of the other 4 files. We don't have the SELPA relationship in our test environment with our fake LEAs, CSIS Training Berkeley. That's why we have yet to ever demonstrate it. We've asked several times, but we don't have that capability. So Kyron's just sticking to the enrollment, the information, the program, and the SELA file.
Okay. Oh boy, we have a lot of errors. IVR, invalid effective start date, academic year combination. Okay, let's go back here. So we have different errors, formatting. There's one missing value. There's 2 values that are not in the reference set. And then we have invalid effective start date to the academic year. And then the Hispanic ethnicity indicator. Okay. Let's look at the file again. I think I just mass updated this without the effective dates. Okay, so we have here, yeah, 2023. These are all from last year, I believe. That's why. My apologies. Okay. 19, 9, 19, 9, 19. Okay, so that's done. And then the next one is the academic year. Is correct. Okay. Invalid student ethnicity missing indicator combination. So let's look at this error and look at the record involved. So this one is saying that the combination is invalid, so the missing indicator must be accurately reflected based on the populated student Hispanic indicator. So we click on that and look at this record, a CEFA result. So there is no value, that's why. So let's go here, look at CEFA result. Yeah, so Hispanic indicator is a no. Missing indicator is, let's just say no. Yeah, let's just do yes. And then student race code is blank, and then missing race code is Y. Just okay. Then the second one is invalid in the reference set. US initial school indicator. GERR2. Banff, Alberta. Enrolled in US school less than 3 years cumulative in value not found in reference set. Okay, let's look at that. So Banff is here. And then the enrolled in US indicator. This one. So this is an indicator of a yes or no, but for some reason I had a date in here. So let's just put here a yes. Okay, and then save. Required field missing. Who is this? Oh, the SSID is missing. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so for some reason, Kenai was not in the extract. So let's look for his or her information here. Okay. Emerson. Joshua 3, volcanic. Oh, it didn't generate an SSID for Kenai. So, okay. So Kenai here does not have an SSID. So instead of generating and waiting, I'll first just remove her or him from this. That way we can move forward, right? So these are some tips that you could do to if a record seems to be persistently preventing you from submitting your files, remove that record from the file and then upload the existing file and then work on that other record that triggered the error while waiting for this file to post. Okay, so let's try that. Let's X out of this and upload the file again. Okay, SINF. Okay. Okay, it's standardizing. So while we're waiting for the file to upload or post, do you have any other questions? Okay, I have one here. What exit code would you use for a TK student that left after three weeks of school? My E450 is getting rejected. Use E400 now. So the E400, so the E450 cannot be used for any grade level below first grade. So starting this year, you cannot use E450 anymore. So use E400 for any grade level below first grade. So that would cover TK, KN, infant, and PS. Okay. If student is right by the age cut off TK or K and the district is okay with enrolling them in the grade up, can we do that in CALPADS? You mean the student is already 4 or 5? If they're within the TK 4 but going to turn 5 after. So that's essentially a TK. So if the student is 4 between 9 September 2nd to 10/2, then the student is TK. And then if you want, you can make the student a KN after they turn 5 if that's what you want. But essentially, the student is a TK, GERR5 ownership. Maybe I have here an ownership issue. So I just blanket had a effective start date of 8/23/2023, but Josefa, let's see, let's copy this student. So here's a way to troubleshoot a GER5 ownership issue. So the first thing you have to look at is number one, the dates, and number two, the school of attendance. So this student is in the main file. Okay, so for now, let me just remove this student from this file just for training purposes so we could move on. Where's that? Let me just open this again. Okay, for the purpose of resolving these errors first, because Josefa isn't there, so I'll just save this for now and upload the file. But that doesn't mean you just skip the upload for those students. You will need to upload the file eventually for their SINF to update their records this year. So, okay, let's go back here. Load another file. Hopefully we get these two students up. Created. Okay, hopefully these two records go through without any issues. Okay, it's validated now, and hopefully it posts. Posting, it's good. So we posted the SINF for two students. So just to double check that the SSIDs have been posted, let's go to the students' student details section. So now we have Haleakala with 8/17/2023. The demographic information was 8/17. And then since my SINF record had a date of 9/19/2023, it did add a new record here. So looking at this, what are the potential errors that we might encounter down the road? The birth date is different. Oh yeah, that's one. US entry level if EL. Okay, let's see if okay, we don't know yet. And so now another one is a cert 4. Remember, if you have ownership of the student since 8/17, you submitted when we generated the SSID enrollment, it created a shell file. Even though you extracted an SINF and uploaded it to CalPADS because the effective start date was later, it essentially created a new record and created this floating demographic record. Since you have a start date of 8/17, this will come back and bite you, and it will look for the initial US enrollment and the Hispanic race and ethnicity indicator. So always make sure that whenever you extract a file, it always match at least for at the start of the year, it always matches the first day of school enrollment start date. That way you don't create shell records. Okay, and then let's go to Banff. So we have the student enrolled 8/15, and then the demographic record again, as you can see, we have here 8/15/2023. So 9/11. So we have the student enrolled from 8/15/2023. So since this overlap 9/10, you will need to fix this as well. So here's just a heads up for you guys. You need to make sure that the effective dates of the SINF should always match your enrollment start date. And then the student appears to be TBD. So what does this mean? The student needs to be tested, right? So now let's upload the SELA file. Hopefully that file is would make things easier for us. Since this student already has a TBD and I entered it into the system, when I extract the file, your extract should not include the TBD for Banff anymore, because as you know, you only upload a SELA extract if you need to update the record. But since the student is still TBD, then you don't have to send up your own version of TBD for the student. Okay. Okay, so this is that 96 TBD 2022 82. So I guess this will have potential issues as well. So let's just delete this. Okay. So Joseph, Joshua, and Fitz already had TBD records. So I should only be uploading this TBD here for the student. So let me just delete this and upload this file to CalPADS. So the status for the student was 8/17/2023. Okay. So the third file is the TBD file. So let's move on here and upload this file here. SELA demo final and upload to CalPADS. Okay. SELA, choose file. Okay, it says SELA, right? So let's save that. Let's close this. So we pick SELA demo and upload. Okay, I guess staging is having issues with SELA because For some reason, it does not accept the SELA file. So what's the next recourse? How can you update the SELA status of of a student if there are some issues with the SELA demo uploads? Yeah, there's a problem with the staging. So since we can't push it on staging, so let's use this instead. It's just, since it's just one student, we can just manually add it in. You can just manually add the status of the student in online maintenance. Okay, so we go to student English language acquisition and add a new record. The student appears to be TBD. TBD as of the first day of school, which is 8/17. TBD language would be Japanese. So let's say Japanese. Japanese. Okay. Post. Okay. Once this post, then should be able to see the SELA status here. So the next file is the student program file. So the student program file should now show the information for the student, right? So the eligible records. So I see here that again, Josefa and Joshua and these students are here. So, but since we're just adding this for our new students, then we'll just submit it for Haleakala for the meantime. Okay. I guess I'm a little bit 2023. So the student appears to have submitted his 181 record or his NSLP record on 9/23/2023. So we then upload this to CALPADS. So this is just us uploading the file for the new students in CALPADS. However, normally what you would do is once you have all of the SSIDs generated, you just request, once you've posted the SSID enrollments of those blank SSIDs, you submit your main SENR file, which includes all of those returning students into CalPads, post it, and then you then request the SINF file, the SELA, and the SPRG records of your entire enrollment population and upload it to CalPads as well. That way you just have one efficient way of uploading records to CalPads. Okay, let's see here. SPRG. Demo. What is wrong with staging? Oh my goodness. Okay. So again, since we only have two students, we're trying to add the records in. We have Banff and Haleakala. I guess you get a two for one today. You both have batch upload and online maintenance for these two students. So again, let's just do it in online maintenance. Not sure why going on. So we have here the student is SELA, and then we upload the student program based on the record we have. So I add here the student is at Emerson Elementary. program 181. Membership start date is, so I got the approved result on 9/18. And so just a question, how later up, can you have a start date for and still be qualified for NSLP or LCFF? The answer is 10/31, 2023. So anyway, let's just do that. Migrant student is 181. So let's post that. And then do the same for BANF. Okay. So we started 8/15/2023. Free meal. We already have 1 year. Okay, that's essentially a demonstration of how files are uploaded to CALPADS, how you work with your data in CALPADS in terms of updating student information, student enrollment, SELA, and program records. So once all 4 files are in CALPADS, or even just, CNR and SINF, you can also now, if the student is a SPED student, then you can notify your SPED person to push their data into the student's enrollment. So student details in CalPED. So we have here Banff. Turns out one of our students, Banff, Alberta, is a SPED student. Let's see here. She is a SPED student. It is. So I believe he was a SPED student last year. So let's look at this. So this is how the SPED interface will look like now. So you have your 4 new files, but you still have the student special education and SPED services, the old formats in here just for informational purposes. Okay. So, but I believe this one has the student from last year. So I use the student was a SPED student last year using the new format. And so once you have this information, you will need to involve your SPED person to update any necessary changes here. So number one, you have to gain ownership, right, of the SPED. So you have to make sure that the enrollments are correct. Your enrollment type is correct as well. If it's PS, it should be a 10. If the student is in IFSP or ISP, then it could be a 50. If a student is just receiving services, this should be a 50. If it's an IEP, it should be a 10. So all of those are laid out in the SPED reporting table that you could download or check online. But note that once you acquire the student, you have to submit your version of the student with disabilities and then the pertinent information here. So that's just a one-time thing for the SPED student with disabilities, just like the SPED files will be treated like the SELA record moving forward. If the SWDS hasn't changed, then you really don't need to re-upload this every year. You just have to upload a subsection of the SPED record. So you could just probably upload your meeting if there was a new meeting created or done. If you have a change in the plans, then you only have to update this information and not the parent record at the top. So these are some changes that you should be aware of, and I'm sure you are aware of it now if you've attended the SPED sessions with with Brandy. If not, then if you go to the YouTube channel, we have a tutorial in there for where's that? We have this training video with regards to the SPED reporting. Also, we've updated the user manual to include new sections of the SPED. If you want to have, you could go here to online maintenance, student maintenance, and it will include the different sections, and it's a combination of the CFS. So we still have that same video embedded here. And also the different field elements and when it is required. So all of these are in the user manual. All right, so I guess that ends the demo part. Do you guys have any questions for me before I pass the mic back to Matt to
Yeah, there's
close out the
one.
session? Yes.
So any of you guys can answer it, or I can look it up. But the original question was, what exit code would you use for a TK student that left after 3 weeks of school? My
Yeah.
E450 was rejected. And of course, we said E400. That
Yeah.
covers those students that are in TK and kindergarten, as well as
Mm-hmm.
those who are above 18.
That's right.
But Teresa added to that, what if the student is in grade 6 and in grade K? Well, I think the E450 works in your scenario, but
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't sure if there was a change
Yeah.
I was unaware of.
So that brings us to the CALPADS valid code combinations. The CALPADS valid code combination should provide you the accepted grade level and exits allowed for each grade level. So if you go to download the CALPADS valid code combinations and go to exit recent grade level, and you can essentially filter for what grade level you want to look at. So you had, was that TK? And then, yeah. So TK, these are the potential acceptable exits you could use for TK. So now with regards to the description of each, of course, you have to go to the CalPads code sets and look at the descriptions. If you want to do sixth grade, search for sixth grade. These are, and then filter for the effective years. NA, this should then give you the valid exits for sixth graders. So again, all of this can be used for sixth graders. With regards to the exact scenario, you have to look at the CalPads code sets for the description. If age 6 and grade K and next grade is unknown, exit reason would be 140. So meaning if the student was, so are you saying that the student left and you did a SARB, Erin? If age 6 and grade K, yeah, if you did a SARB, then by all means use an E140.
I have a question though. I don't see E450. Was that retired
Um,
in front of me?
it's a typo. It's a typo, I
It was
guess.
listed previously.
Yeah, let's see, E450. There's an E450. I think they documented the opposite. They should be E400.
It is. This is the
Yeah,
new one.
yeah, this is the new one.
Yeah, okay. I was looking at the code set, so we'll alert them to that.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like there is a discrepancy in the valid code combos document. Yeah.
And then what does E140? What's
E140 is a
E400?
SAR. Oh, E400.
Let's make
So
sure it's not backwards. Sorry,
E140
this is
and
our portion of the training.
we're learning just like you guys.
Okay, E400 didn't change.
Yeah. E400 is still valid for K to 12, I guess. It's just that it expanded to IN, TK, KN, and PS. And so now that you use E400 for TK, KN, PS, I guess your next question is, will this be considered dropouts? No. The dropouts or in the ERDs will exempt PS, KN, TKIN from triggering a dropout code for the students because it's an acceptable code for these 4 grade levels. Now, if you have a E400 for this, for first grade up to 12, then that would automatically be counted as a dropout. So, Matt, are you ready to take it home?
I
Take us
am
home.
ready to take it home.
Okay.
Thank you, Kyron. Let's go ahead and continue with the training here and continue on to the wrap up here. So Kyron, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.